Hello again, and thank you for joining me for another lesson. Today we're going to discuss about happy chemicals. When we think at what makes us happy, we often think about our circumstances, our belongings, or the people around us. But happiness in reality is mostly a chemical experience. The sensations and emotions you've learned to associate with happiness are mostly caused by four chemicals produced in the brain: dopamine, serotonin, oxytocin, and endorphins. Some of these chemicals, they have a great impact on our diet choices, and that is why they are relevant in health and weight loss. The first chemical we're going to discuss is the dopamine, or the reward molecule. Dopamine is a neurotransmitter. Basically, it is a chemical that transmits messages between neurons in the brain. Dopamine has a direct effect on the brain's reward and pleasure centers, and it affects our mood, our motivation, and our attention. It also helps us regulate the movements, learning, and emotional responses. Dopamine is activated for a variety of reasons, like the availability of food, expectation of a reward, and when we make progress, when we want to reach a goal. When you start to associate a given action or product with pleasure, just anticipating it will cause your dopamine levels to rise. It could be a certain type of food, sex, shopping, or anything else that you find enjoyable. Let's take, for example, homemade chocolate cookies, which are your favorite comfort food. When you smell them baking in the oven, or you see them come out of the oven, your brain will release dopamine in anticipation. When you eat them, you get another dose of dopamine, and the second dose of dopamine is meant to reinforce your cravings for chocolate cookies and focus your attention on satisfying this craving in the future. Another example, when we eat a French fry for the first time. French fries contain carbs, fats, salt. These are things that our brain loves, and the brain loves them because fat and sugar, they used to be scarce in nature. They provide many calories without much effort. When you eat the fries, dopamine is released in the brain. This way, the elephant learns that the French fries are beneficial for your survival because they are tasty, are high in calories, and provide quick energy. And the elephant will search them again in the future. When you walk past a McDonald's or another fast food restaurant and smell fries, you have a craving or a strong desire to eat fries. When you eat them, you experience another release of dopamine in the brain. It is a motivating, rewarding, and reinforcing loop that is hard to get out of. Why is dopamine important in the context of weight loss or health? Beside the fact that dopamine will boost your motivation, and we'll discuss this in another chapter, there is a lot of evidence showing that people that are constantly exposing themselves to highly palatable foods like sugary and fatty foods, they have dopamine system abnormalities, meaning that the dopamine release that you normally experience when you eat something delicious has been suppressed. This reduced dopamine response could lead to overeating because what you just ate doesn't satisfy you and you're going to indulge in another food in order to get that good feeling that the dopamine release gives you. This is called habituation. How does this work? When you buy a new phone or a new car, you get a rush of dopamine. You are excited. But over the time, the pleasure of owning the car or the phone will go away, and you will find yourself after a period of time, like 1 month, 2 months, 6 months, wanting to get another car, more fancy, more powerful, bigger, and so on. Have you noticed that after a while, your favorite restaurant or food, it doesn't taste as good as it did before because we habituate with everything. Have you ever wondered why the fine restaurants have such small portions of food? The five-star restaurants have understood that you only get pleasure from eating food for the first few bites. The rest just fills you up. That is why they are stimulating your senses and they keep your dopamine flowing by giving you many new tiny portions of food. We know that all eating increases dopamine, but more so the consumption of high-fat and sugary foods, both of which can contribute to an increase in appetite, overeating, and weight gain in the long run. The secret here is to swap the unhealthy food choices with healthy ones. For example, eat fruits as a snack, drink green tea instead of soda, and you will get the same dose of dopamine as you would from unhealthy snacks. Now, if you can afford to eat at the restaurant every day or buy a new phone every month or a new piece of clothing every day, you need to understand that our minds and bodies, they need contrasting situations. If it is really cold outside and you come inside where it is nice and warm, you immediately have a good feeling. A feeling that you wouldn't have felt if you were staying inside all the time. So take breaks from overstimulating your dopamine system. Otherwise, you will habituate an activity or food that should feel or taste good. It will seem like nothing special. And you will always want to look for the next best thing all the time. One thing to remember here is that the elephant learns through repetitions and associations. The more you will eat the fries and the cookies, the harder it will be to quit. Even if the pleasure from eating these foods is not as intense as it was at the beginning. The problem with dopamine is that the good feeling that you get initially doesn't last long, but you will suffer the consequences of those bad food choices later. The next chemical is the serotonin, or the confidence molecule. Serotonin regulates a variety of activities in the body, and this includes mood, anger, appetite, memory, sleep, sexuality, and attention. The majority of serotonin, however, is found outside of the brain and specifically in the gastrointestinal tract. Why is serotonin important in the context of health and weight loss? The amount of serotonin released in the brain is in a large part controlled by diet. Eating carbohydrates will boost your serotonin, but eating proteins doesn't have the same effect. That's why many people who suffer from depression or anxiety, they learn to overeat carbohydrates to feel better, and they especially eat snacks that are high in carbohydrates and fats such as chips or pastries. This is one of the reasons why depression can cause weight gain. And the same happens with the people that are stressed. We said earlier that the serotonin is mostly found in the gut, around 95% of it to be specific. When you are sad and you eat carbohydrates, you get a quick boost of serotonin in the brain, but the good feeling effect lasts a very short period of time. On the other hand, eating highly processed foods will cause an imbalance in your gut bacteria, and the gut bacteria are essential in the production of the serotonin in the gut. The serotonin produced in the gut can't cross the blood-brain barrier, so it can't travel into the brain. So the two types of serotonin, they have different effects in the body. The serotonin produced by the gut will affect your glucose and fat metabolism. Serotonin promotes the secretion of insulin from the pancreas, so it helps on regulating blood sugar levels. At the same time, it promotes the breakdown of fat from the fat cells, and it also regulates the gut motility and nutrient absorption. So paying attention to your diet and your gut microbes, it is very important for your metabolism. On the other hand, the serotonin produced in the brain directly affects your mood and your behavior in general. Serotonin produced in the brain is essential for mood and anxiety control, but it is also vital for weight loss because it acts as an appetite suppressor. Serotonin suppresses your appetite, it reduces food cravings, and makes you feel full. So if your serotonin levels are out of whack, it can be tough to regulate what you eat in order to lose weight. Another thing that the serotonin does, it motivates us to get respect and appreciation from the people around us. For example, you get a boost of serotonin when you feel appreciated for the way you look or validated for your hard work, for example. To boost serotonin levels, push yourself on a regular basis and do activities that reinforce a sense of purpose, meaning, and accomplishment. Being able to say, "I did it," creates a feedback loop that will reinforce behaviors that increase self-esteem and decrease insecurity. Express pride in what you have done to the people you trust. Getting no recognition from others for something you have done feels wrong, doesn't it? You can stimulate your serotonin without being a jerk by simply expressing pride in something you've done. Don't expect applause, just be proud of your own accomplishment. Have you ever had a presentation or a meeting or a graduation where you got public applause? Remember that good feeling? That is the serotonin in action. Notice your influence on other people. You can notice when other people follow your good example. Don't expect credit or even a thank you, but just quietly enjoy it. Parents often complain about their lack of influence over their children, but if they knew how much they really influence their children in the long run, they would pay more attention to the example they set. And remember, children learn from what you do rather than what you say. Other ways to increase your serotonin are exposure to sunlight, nature walks, meditation, and physical activity. Next chemical we have is oxytocin, or the bonding molecule, or the trust hormone. Oxytocin is commonly known as a hormone that is involved in childbirth and breastfeeding, but we're not going to discuss this in this course. Oxytocin is a hormone directly linked to human bonding, empathy, trust, and loyalty. You know how you get those nice and fuzzy feelings when you cuddle a dog, you hug a friend, or you kiss your partner? That is oxytocin in action. The oxytocin is a very important chemical because when it is released, it keeps the elephant calm. Oxytocin is probably the most important factor when it comes to stress management. That's because oxytocin and cortisol, they have a mutually exclusive relation, meaning that when oxytocin is released, cortisol levels drop. Oxytocin also facilitates the collaboration with other people. In our modern world, where we are frequently alone together on our smartphones, maintaining a face-to-face human connection is more important than ever. Working out at the gym or in a group setting or with an exercise partner is an excellent way to maintain these human relationships and release oxytocin. How to increase your oxytocin levels naturally? Cuddles and hugs. Physical touch is a guaranteed method to boost oxytocin levels, and that could be between parents and children, between couples, between friends, and of course between people and pets. Have sex or love yourself. One of the most efficient ways to increase oxytocin is through sexual pleasure. Whether you are alone or with a partner, an orgasm can increase your oxytocin levels. Watch an emotional movie. When we experience empathy for others, we're emotionally putting ourselves in their shoes. A study found that creating empathy by watching emotional videos increased people's oxytocin levels, which in turn made them more generous shortly after. Be a trustworthy person. When other people trust you with their secrets, it feels good because it boosts your oxytocin level. Be a person who honors their commitments and enjoy the feeling that comes with it. Get a massage. Massage stimulates oxytocin. You don't need to spend money to do that. You can have a massage buddy. And the last chemical is endorphin, or the pain-killing molecule. Endorphin is an abbreviation for self-produced morphine. Endorphins mask pain and increase pleasure. They have a similar effect as the opioids. They create a sense of well-being and euphoria. Endorphins are produced in response to pain or stress, but they are also produced during activities like eating, exercising, or having sex. Endorphins' evolutionary purpose is to disguise pain while we engage in intense physical activities. Consider this: if a lion is hunting you or a dog bites you, endorphins are released so you don't feel the pain in the moment and you can run away from the danger to live on and pass down your genes. How to increase your endorphin levels naturally? Exercise, sex, dancing, laughing, crying, massage, sauna, and aromatherapy. The limbic system, or the elephant, releases these chemicals to tell us whether something is beneficial for us and we should do it again, or if it is bad for us and we should avoid it in the future. In fact, the purpose of these four chemicals, it is to keep us alive. This concludes our lesson for today. Thank you for watching. Until next time.